liked you better with glasses.
Too bad. I like me better without them.
Hey, pretty fans. Welcome to another episode of the Better with Glasses podcast. I am your host, Vicky Basalia, and with me is the birthday boy himself, Casey.
Hey.
And today, we are obviously not in our normal studio.
We're in the Berg, yo.
We are in Pittsburgh.
And
we are technically on vacation.
Yep, the folks here at Wyndham let us use their conference room, so that's where we're at.
Pretty nice aesthetic. If Casey moves out of the way just slightly, you can see that we brought a little bit of home with us.
There's Belly.
You see Belly back there.
In the head, and that's Jeremiah. Hey, buddy. And Conrad over here somewhere. Yeah, so we watched the episode last night.
Oh, yeah.
Watched it again. We usually watch it 3 times. We didn't get a chance to do that because we're, had a certain time to be into this conference room. So
yeah,
here we are. We're gonna do this. We're gonna go a little bit quicker through the synopsis because I think there's so much more to talk about in the postscript here. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Because front to back on, there's not a lot of the plot doesn't move a ton in this episode.
But there's a lot of good scenes.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move through just how we get from A to Z on the actual arc.
And then talk about it.
And then we just want to break it down. There's so much to break down.
Sure.
Outside of the scenes themselves. So
run it up, girl.
All right. So where it opens up is where it ended.
Where all shit go.
Yeah, everybody's in the house and there's nothing in the house. And I thought correctly that there might be some or that there wasn't going to be any furniture in the house. Bare bones.
It wasn't a pest issue.
No. So you can tell immediately that it's Gavin Castellano, who is obviously Jeremiah, narrating the episode. And you feel it kind of in the direction right away because it cuts to Jeremiah following him up the stairs, going into Susanna's room, and it's empty up there too. And that's probably the first gut punch for Jeremiah. And not to say that Conrad was right, but if you go back and watch episode 3, Conrad's being a dick, but he's like, hey, this is grown-up shit. This is real shit. And I think this is the first time Jeremiah's like, oh my God, we're going to lose this house. They go back downstairs. Jeremiah's pissed. They're all angry. Most of them are just speechless. I did not think that they would just have Aunt Julia waltzing in and Conrad just lays into her, as he should.
Yeah, a pretty lame excuse from Aunt Julia. If anyone's touching my shit, I want some notice. She's like, we're all hurting.
Yeah.
But if you're going to move someone else's house, you may own it, but you didn't live there for the last 10 years.
But even so, what a betrayal, because they were just there that morning. And Conrad's right. He's like, you could have at least warned us. You could have at least told us. Because
by the way, guys, you guys go to the boardwalk, but grab anything you really want. Think about that. The stuff that they might want.
It's gone.
It's all put away.
Yeah. Or Junior.
Grab a few boxes that stuff you want right away because everything's going into storage.
Yeah, and
coffee maker.
God knows where, right? Jeez. But yeah, so Conrad saying that I think was in line. He gets slightly out of line towards the end when he talks about the grandfather, but I think that's a setup you said.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was a little bit out of character for Conrad. It was really a plot device, a setup for Jeremiah to have a good narration right after.
Because then what you see is Conrad storms out of the house. You start to see Steven and Conrad interacting differently ever since he knows about the panic attack. So Steven is chasing after Conrad, just making sure he's good, level-headed, all that stuff, not going to do anything rash. And
they all go outside.
You see Jeremiah. We'll pick it back on this theme later on, but you see Jeremiah looking at Conrad and just being like, I used to idolize this guy.
Yeah, we all can kind of relate to having our elders know everything. We just, whatever they say, that's gospel. But at a certain point, you're like, I think I actually know better than you in this situation. I think that's where Jeremiah is getting to.
I think so. And then there's still that undercurrent of the dad stuff. Jeremiah does still try to see the best in people, including Adam. And I do. Chris Briney did so good though when he's just like, Jere, he does not care about us.
It's fucked up that he didn't call.
It's so true.
I try and defend Adam, but he's got to answer the phone. And Adam should have given them a heads up. If he was in on it, he should have let them know.
They just had a phone call about it. They make a utilitarian decision or unilateral decision rather, to pack up all of it while the boys are staying there. And Adam doesn't have the courtesy to tell them, warn them, or pick up when Conrad's calling. Like, he doesn't care about you guys, at least not that much.
Now they're displaced.
Now they're displaced. And Jeremiah has the bright idea to sneak into the country club.
Yeah.
All that stuff is good. It's actually more lighthearted than I think it was gonna be. You got Cam, Sky riffing off each other. You got Jeremiah trying to use his access from last time, and as suspected, Cameron saves the day because we get to use Mom's code to get in.
Yep.
Now that is another good little like plot device because it sets the theme in place that Cam is just like on pins and needles. Like he wants to make sure they're not making a mess. He's like, as he should be. Like, he's like, I'm sneaking you into this place. You have to make sure.
He's getting some social currency back from letting this cool group in.
Yeah.
But it's a big risk.
Yeah, for sure. Anyhow, so when they get inside, they immediately all split up, right? Because they got to kind of like rummage through and figure out where they're going to sleep and try to find food, I guess. So they split up, which then leads to
not only sneak in, but also rob the kitchen blind.
Yes.
We didn't talk about that.
Yeah. Like, what do we have to eat around here? So that cuts to I'll intersperse at different points in time, but basically the three groups, so to speak, are Jeremiah and Belly together. Then you have Cam, Sky, Conrad in the kitchen.
And then Taylor and
Steven.
But there's also a good scene where Conrad and Belly are kind of talking. And then you have Jere looking away as the narrator. And Jere kind of lets them be like, oh, it's going to be Belly and Conrad. They're going to go.
Yeah.
But no, Belly runs after him.
Yeah.
And that's how they ended up together.
How Belly and Jere.
Yeah, Belly and Jere ended up together.
Yeah. Can I spend a little bit of time on the Belly and Conrad? Just because there's barely any Belly and Conrad. Can I go on that for a little bit?
Rock.
If anything, it just kind of shows that Jeremiah says it as he's watching them, there is a sort of gravitational pull for the two of them. And there is like Belly can front on the actual romantic feelings, all that she wants, but she actually really cares about him and she understands him really well because a lot of people, not just us, predicted the exact same thing. Like, man, Conrad is going to take it bad. Like, he didn't want to go have a fun day on the boardwalk. He actually let himself forget about stuff and have fun. And then he's blaming himself now, which he's kind of right. Like, he tells Belly, like, yeah, but if I were there, she wouldn't have done it. Or
who knows?
We could have fought.
Who knows Conrad the best? Jere, Steven, or Belly?
Belly.
I think just by virtue of being his brother, it would be Jere. But Steven's up there too. So.
I think that Jeremiah has like a different warped view, and so does Belly. But I think it's because Belly, they make fun of it in season 1. It's like, oh, do you remember everything I say? I think she spent her whole life
idolizing him.
No, not even trying to understand him. Like the way that we overanalyze the show, like she overanalyzes
That's true.
him. And then they also spent like 6 months dating.
Yeah.
And before that, 3 months like having deep conversations on the phone.
Steven's on the new tip though.
Oh yeah.
Conrad's been confiding in him recently, so Steven's got that new vibe.
Yeah. But anyhow, so let's break down each of these scenes a little bit. And by breakdown, we'll actually break them down. Let's just talk.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
So Jeremiah and Belly.
Whoa. Best Jeremiah and Belly ever.
It's a lot. So if you're not team Jeremiah, or there's a difference between being team Conrad and not team Jeremiah, or even anti-Jeremiah. It's a hard episode if you're anti-Jeremiah because it's a lot of him. Like it's
not
you don't get Belly narration.
It's
at all.
It's Belly thirsting over Jeremiah.
It is.
She's giving him all the eyes, all the signs. She wants to. Yeah, wants to kiss that man.
Yeah, she wants some reciprocation. for what she's putting out there.
And we'll definitely talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about what we think her reasoning is, why, all of that. But she's definitely trying to put out vibes, and she's like throwing out fishing lines and like seeing if he bites.
We get the
shadow puppets. That it's so funny, but Jenny, showrunner, writers, they just keep giving us things that are new that I think are actually better than some of the book stuff. We were so excited about the sneak peek of like the Twizzler part. I like the shadow puppet part. Like I like that part better. So anyway,
is there any worse thing that you could sip a Twizzler with than a LaCroix? Can you imagine the bubbles that would happen? And if we could do it all again, they should use red vines. If anyone's out there hip to red vines, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And the part where it's cute until it takes a turn and it starts to get romantic is where they're both talking about Susanna and movie nights. And that's where the Twizzler straw came in. And Jeremiah says, Belly, I thought about you and I missed you so much during those movie nights. And I knew I couldn't call you. And she said,
it's getting steamy in here.
And she says, I wish you would have called me. I would have picked up. I would kiss her if I was Jeremiah.
Listen, Jeremiah, all sorts of restraint here. We'll talk about that.
Sure. Yeah. Then they have another little moment, and Jeremiah swerves it by being like, "Okay, I should text Conrad and Stephen, see what they're up to."
And then we get Stephen. And speaking of thirst, Stephen definitely, was trying to get Taylor to come with him, and he succeeded.
He's trying to get Taylor alone.
And then we get them. They're in the ballroom.
Oh no! First, they're in the cloak closet, which it's actually really great because I was afraid that Taylor would just like forget about Milo and be that girl, but she didn't. She like throws on the jacket and she's like taking a selfie, and he's like messing with her, but she's like, it's for Milo, as in like, hey, remember I still have a boyfriend and get out of the picture.
Yeah.
And then she finds the weed. I just have to mention that because it's funny and it leads to a funny Belly quote later on, and then like some more comedy stuff.
So we get Stephen and Taylor. Taylor does have a boyfriend still, but Stephen's trying. He's thirsting too. And they do a dance, and he's ignoring the messages from Conrad or Jeremiah because he doesn't want this time to end. He wants to continue the moments with Taylor. It's dance.
All really good.
It's really good. They eventually they don't kiss, but they're about to, and then they get broken up. Yeah. Oh, and then Cam and
Sky,
they have some good repartee with the gossipy stuff. The gossip is there to kind of help move the plot along.
Exactly.
With Conrad and his ever dying need to
sue his father.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea is that Liam was able to access his trust early because he talked to a judge, which I've heard of that being a thing before as well. So now Conrad is thinking, hey, maybe I can get access to the trust without Dad's permission. That's where he's at.
Now everyone gets together and we're all...
Well, there's a walk and talk.
Oh, Eula.
Conrad and Jeremiah.
Yeah.
The only reason I say...
The little dirtbag line by Conrad.
Oh my God. I like it because... Here's why I like it. Jeremiah just coming off of some romance with Belly where he is putting her in a corner, right? He's just like, I didn't do anything wrong there. Of course, he's not going to tell Conrad about that. Jeremiah is talking about how it feels like old times again. Conrad uses that as a way to say, like, yeah, it's kind of nice that everybody's coming back together. And it's because of the flashback that we saw with Conrad and Jeremiah. Like, their relationship was, like, bad. I didn't know that we'd see all of it, but it got
big facts.
Bad.
Big facts.
And inside of it getting bad, Conrad didn't like how cold Jeremiah was being to Belly. So Conrad says, it's nice to see you and Belly coming together again. And then he adds in the as friends.
So before, as friends.
And of course, Jeremiah's like,
happy to have you back as a friend.
Yeah. But then Jeremiah, who doesn't say anything, is like, what just happened in the old movie theater wasn't too friendly, Conrad, but he doesn't say anything about it.
Yeah, because he could bury Conrad, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
He could hurt Conrad's feelings, but he refrains.
Yeah. I think he likes having that little piece of a nugget for himself.
Well, Conrad and Belly have a nugget that Jeremiah doesn't know about too.
Sex.
What?
We'll talk about that.
Listen, I don't know if we mentioned it, but by this point in the show, I think we've got the Thanksgiving flashback, which is brutal.
We're gonna break those down separately.
But Thanksgiving flashback.
We have pre-Halloween, pre-candy bouquet.
Yeah, or also big baller move for the Fishers to have full-size candy bars.
Of course they would.
There was a house in Liberty. Oh, there's a house back home that
shout out Liberty.
Shout out Liberty. There's a house back home that was like this rich guy. He would give out full-size candy bars at Halloween, and it was the shit. Everyone wanted to go there.
What else? We also got flashback to when Belly arrives at the summer house last summer.
Oh man, that was weird.
It was weird because
they reshot it.
You could tell that they reshot it.
Yeah, Jeremiah looks like a doll.
Yeah, the makeup is a little off. However they did it, I think it was really cool how they probably edited it because they had
it was like to remake something.
But it was the new stuff in the foreground, but the stuff that was in the background was the actual footage from the season. Like they didn't redo Belly and Conrad in the background. So they just kind of like however you layer it. And anyway. So if you're on the production side, let us know.
We'll talk about those flashback scenes later.
Yeah. So then they're all in the theater.
Yep.
And they're watching this movie.
Cam's freaking out because everyone's making a mess.
Taylor's
trying to make an apple bomb.
Which is funny. And Steven thinks it's cute. Belly is like, you're crazy and you can't smoke. What is it? You just can't smoke random weed.
That you found.
She's like, no, Belly, this is rich people weed.
This is rich people lost and found weed. You can't smoke lost and I don't know what it is.
It's so funny.
But then Cam's having like a little neuroticism. That's a word.
Yeah.
And
I love the Jeremiah.
Napkins.
Yeah. I love the Jeremiah. Oh, there's two cute things there with the napkins. Because Sky is just like, I'll take a napkin. Like, oh, so cute. Those two. And then you have them on the golf cart, which is just like a playful, nice scene. Behind the golf cart, the girls are walking. So you have Taylor and Belly having a heart-to-heart. Belly, it's kind of funny how the two Conklin kids are noticing things. So Steven is telling Conrad, his boy, that he's noticing vibes between him and Belly. Belly is like, I'm noticing vibes between my brother and you.
And she says, all my vibes are for Milo.
She's clearly lying.
It's funny.
Clearly lying. And then Taylor has a very vulnerable moment where she says, like, he broke my heart. And it's like the kind of heartbreak that you never get over. Belly says, yeah, I know what you mean. Taylor says, I know you do. And then probably the main, if there was like a thesis statement of this episode.
Defensive.
Well, we'll talk about that, but it's when Taylor says, can we just make a pact to keep first loves in the past? Like that, if they're making a pact about that, that's how they're trying to, all their actions are going to funnel into that theme for the end of the episode, possibly for the end of the season.
That bums me out because I don't know.
I know because because you don't know what's going to happen between Steven and Taylor.
But whatever. But it just shows that everyone has their guard up to not get hurt again. Steven hurt Taylor last year, and Taylor doesn't want to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremiah got hurt by Belly last year, and he doesn't want to get hurt.
Yeah, so we're like, regardless, like defenses.
Belly's calling on to him. He's like, no. Belly got hurt by Conrad last episode, and she doesn't want him to flirt with her either.
Yeah.
Everyone doesn't want to be hurt by the other person.
It's very reactionary. Very reactionary. Yeah.
Sky gets the bomb.
Sky gets the bomb. Of course they do. And then that sets up Truth or Dare. So they're sitting on the blanket playing Truth or Dare.
Well, and they're smoking weed.
And they're smoking weed. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Taylor's so high.
I think Belly's high too. When
Belly is very high.
When Belly talks to
Jeremiah at the golf cart
after Truth or Dare, I definitely think she's stoned.
Yeah.
We get more volleyball.
The volleyball. You were worried about the volleyball thing. Again, like I said,
I've proven right by this volleyball thing. Because if you look at the text messages, that when her phone is up, it's like it's the message between her and coach, and it doesn't look like it was something on the court that was the issue. I think it was a responsibility thing, not showing up thing, a leadership thing.
Yeah, if you read it, it actually says like, I think you owe me and the team a little bit more than a sorry. So
if you stop and pause it, you can read the messages.
But they're
big and
yeah, but then Taylor takes her phone and types out a message that she really doesn't want to send, honestly.
Like, I'll be at practice. I'll be at camp next week.
And Belly gets, so we'll talk about that later, but Belly gets a text back that basically is like, no, please don't come.
So they're playing Truth or Dare.
Yep. They're playing Truth or Dare. So one of my issues with the episode is that when we're getting a narration by Jeremiah, I'm expecting to have like a deeper sense of understanding of him, and we understand him, but we really only end up understanding him from the perspective of his feelings for Belly. We don't get to see him well-rounded.
During Truth or Dare, you get a great monologue from
Cam,
but you also get one from
Conrad.
That was might be my favorite Conrad scene.
Moment,
like when just kind of acting bar, like as he talks about cousins, what it means to him. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? And it's like here, surfing with Jere and July 4th barbecue, and
I love that.
Digging up the crabs or whatever.
Yeah, clam bake. And I love that Belly throws in like, and pomegranate margarita.
It's just like it helps you understand
where he's really at.
Well, and just kind of what he values.
Yeah.
But then you're right. Cam does have that great.
He's talking about his. Yes, you learn a little bit more about Cam and
what's your
the
biggest
grief
regret?
He feels for his sister,
which is like that came out of nowhere, right?
It came out of nowhere, but it's a plot device to have them think about Susanna and Aunt Julia, and then it also is a plot device to help Jere and Conrad realize that, like, you can't not be brothers, you can't not be family, like it's too short.
I didn't even think about that. But wasn't it nice that Conrad said surfing with Jere?
Yes.
That's like their ultimate common ground. Like, and a couple episodes ago, where Conrad and Jere aren't seeing eye to eye. He had just came to rescue him from skipping school, and the first thing they talk about was, how is the surf out there? The break's a little bit choppy. All right, maybe we'll go back out there later when
it's the thing that they can like anchor back to.
Yeah, I feel that, with my family, we have baseball. We always talk about baseball is kind of like the common ground, and for these guys, surfing is a place where it's kind of safe.
Yeah, safe. Safe's a good word. But yeah, I thought the Truth or Dare, it was good for those moments, but again, I thought that they would give some of those good lines or good stories or character development to Jeremiah a little bit more. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's not his strength.
Yeah.
Nothing.
That said, I've never been, say what you will, I've never been more happy for the Sky character. Do you know why?
Why?
They are the only one that would have been able to pull off the dare. That just was like perfect awkwardness. Perfect.
It's like Belly kiss Jeremiah.
Yeah, and Sky could have chosen anyone, right? But like, what would have been Belly's choices? Kiss Conrad, ex-boyfriend. Kiss Cam, ex-boyfriend. Kiss Jeremiah in front of ex-boyfriends. Kiss your brother.
Sounds like a Belly problem. A lot of ex-boyfriends at the table there.
Belly problem for sure.
Let me give a shout out to Jeremiah for nothing else.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the writers, they finally allowed him to do something, be able to figure something out and work something.
A couple some things. Yeah.
He figured he whipped that projector right into shape there.
Yeah.
Got it going.
He's good at shadow puppets.
Oh yeah, he's like
shadow puppet guy. If you had to get projector guy. Yeah, if you had to tell me to do a shadow puppet, like I'd be like alligator.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, but even the idea of going to the country club, right? Like, all right. So then basically where it ends is they're sleeping on the golf course. Belly, who just got a devastating text from, it's shot so well. Belly just got a devastating text from coach that basically says, like, yeah, like we're not good, don't come. And the way that it's shot is Conrad and Belly are like 3 feet apart, but miles away, right? Like she is staring off into her phone. She's just got this like news that makes her feel bad about herself. Conrad has his back turned to her, and he's researching like how to get access to your trust. So of course, Belly gets up. She sees Jeremiah is still like alone in his feelings, like at the golf cart, and she walks down to him. She's high. So
it appears, we don't know, we don't see her. She doesn't smoke in the episode, but I think it was just
I think it's a little bit more forgiving for her character if in this moment she's high, because she comes in hot.
Why don't you kiss me?
Pretty much, right? Like it's not that explicit. Like, why don't you want to kiss me, girl? What?
What? I see it as a coping mechanism.
Of course it is.
Like she just got this devastating news.
I understand
that she probably knows. Like, I don't think Taylor knows how deep it is between her and the coach.
Yeah.
And I think Belly's always kind of known that she fucked up
big time.
And
okay. Yes, it is a coping mechanism. So I know why it happens. But like a little bit of sensitivity for Jere here, please. Like,
yeah, like
so much restraint for him not actually going off.
No, that's what I've been saying. Like, oh, I thought it was so much restraint for him to not kiss her. Like, not necessarily in the Truth or Dare game, but earlier on. And
he starts to do it right. Like, she just keeps egging it on, and he's like, Belly, stop. Just stop. She's like, but why won't you kiss me? Like, and then he has to spell it out for her.
Remember last summer?
He has to spell it out for her.
Do you remember that summer?
Okay.
New kids.
Do you want to get into this right now? Because
what?
Like,
you're coming in hot too.
I am. But Belly, like, you still haven't dealt with the Conrad funeral stuff. You still haven't said to each other that you actually don't mean the things that you said with Conrad. And in the grand scheme of things, they have been broken up 2 months, and you have been here at Cousins for 3 days.
Yeah, Belly is a little bit of the, I wouldn't say the issue. I guess
she's the issue.
It's like the anti-hero song.
Oh, yes.
This guy. Yeah, tough look for my girl. Like, just from the sense of the flip-flopping and whiplash.
Not just that. Back and forth and she's just not even taking Jeremiah. Okay, you can be upset as a Team Conrad fan that she's not taking Conrad into consideration, but her putting the full court press on Jeremiah.
It's not fair to Jeremiah.
It's not fair to Jeremiah either.
Because if Jeremiah actually acquiesced and kissed her,
what's gonna happen?
But then, yeah, what's gonna happen? Like, think about the fire that starts. And then if Conrad wanted to, like, come back into the picture, I would feel bad for Jere, because I don't think Belly would be able to.
Well, we're saying all of these what ifs. Okay, so prediction.
Yep.
That is the rest of the season, because episode 7 is called Love Affair, and episode 8 is called Love Triangle. It's coming to a head, guys. It's coming.
Just from Jeremiah's perspective here, you got to talk with Conrad. Before I'd be like, yo, bro, Belly is feeling some kind of way, and I still have feelings for her.
Yeah.
Is that something that we're doing here?
They just don't talk about her.
But they do talk about her.
It got so messed up last time they tried.
Thanksgiving. Well,
it got so messed up, and then
I feel like there's a better starting.
And then I feel now I go back and I rewatch like Prom and all this stuff, and I'm like, maybe Conrad knew he wasn't in the right time and place to be a good boyfriend. He didn't want to hurt Belly. He has an estranged relationship with Jere. They're all each other has, and he just cut bait.
How about this?
Just cut bait and ran.
Okay, fine.
Now, I don't think that means that he was inviting Jeremiah to step back in, but
if I'm Jeremiah,
shit happens.
You've got to know, like, hey, like, I don't want to get hurt again. He's got to lay it out for Belly. I don't want to get hurt again. Are you over my brother? Are you gonna go right back to Conrad if the opportunity presents itself? And that's like the only hope that they have.
But also,
like, to have that promise, right?
Yeah.
That promise, and then enough time where they can build a strong enough bond.
Yeah.
Where it's stronger than whatever she had thought of with Conrad.
But what needs to be said or clarified, which really can only be done by Conrad.
Do you think they need to have a three-way conversation?
God, can you imagine?
Oh, another thing. Bro, if her and Jeremiah kiss, does there need to be anything disclosed first?
Yes.
Because last time she kissed Conrad, she didn't let him know that she had just kissed her brother yesterday. And that kind of put...
Well, she did, I mean,
after,
when they were walking.
After the fact.
Oh, yeah, not before. But
that put Conrad in a bad spot.
Yeah. Well, we'll go into it.
What happened? Like,
I have
tell me how you and Conrad
ended
or something. Like,
I think the sex stuff and how serious their relationship was needs to come to light, and I think it will come to light by the end of the season. But aside from that, all I'm saying is the perspective that we don't yet have solidified in stone can only come from Conrad, which is someone, for the love of God, asking him, why did you break up with Belly, and do you still love her?
Belly broke up with Conrad.
That's how I think about it. But before anything can happen, don't you think Belly needs to know why she was broken up with, like, for real, and if he still has feelings for her or not? And don't you think Jeremiah needs to go back and get that, like, clarity? Which I think will happen, but I think it's only after they get caught.
Okay. Let's finish the episode, and then we'll go into flashbacks, okay?
Okay. So, I mean, really nothing happens after that. By the end of the episode...
The house is sold. That's, like, the big thing.
Way to pull the rug from under me. So they wake up on the golf course.
Cam's mom and
Cam's mom's there. They don't get in trouble. They're all walking out off of this very awkward, weird night. And Conrad and Jeremiah are talking again. Conrad says that he is going to move forward on talking to Liam's lawyer and that he texted him. Jeremiah, nice as a brother, is like, hey, I already told you you're not doing anything alone, so, like, let me know when we're talking to the lawyer. And Jeremiah, in his, like, very hopeful, and I think he is, like, a sort of beacon for certain characters right now, namely Belly, is like, yeah, we'll just make her an offer that she can't refuse. Go and find out. They all arrive back at the house, and the house is officially sold, and Julia accepted an offer. She's got to go to Boston to finalize it, and it seems like they've lost the house.
I don't know where it goes from here in terms of the house. I think they're gonna shoot themselves in the foot if they lose the house.
Yeah,
because the house is a character in the show. The freaking posters have the house in the. You know what I'm saying? It's they have to save the house in some way.
Yeah.
But okay, so that's the episode. Awesome. There's 2 huge scenes that were flashbacks.
Yeah.
And they trigger a lot of feelings.
Oh yeah,
I would say so. Let's go chronologically in the
first flashback, which I think is kind of the weakest one, is when you flash back to he still remembers how he felt when he saw her last summer, and you get a glimpse into, oh, it wasn't just when Conrad was moving closer to her that he got jealous and shot a firework at them. Like, I think that's what it was supposed to establish.
Well,
but
you remember it when she first arrives, he's like, all grown up.
Yeah.
Look at our Belly all grown up.
Yeah. But then the narration ends with him saying, but I wasn't the only one. And you see Conrad walk out, and then he's just kind of watching them from afar.
So from that moment, he knows it's on.
He knows it's on. He knows, he already knows that both of them.
Okay, so good. I'm happy you noted that, because that is going to play into what I'm going to say as these flashbacks continue.
All right. Then shit goes down. Belly and Conrad decide not to move forward because of how angry Jere gets at them at the end of last summer. As we know, Belly and Conrad, they still talk. Belly has been ignored by Jeremiah. She keeps texting him. They're not friendly. They're not on good terms. So then we get a scene of a flashback that in this overall storyline is before Conrad shows up at Belly's door pre-Halloween to tell her that he wants to be with her.
Yes. Great scene.
Great scene. for Conrad.
I think I mentioned it already with the full size candy bars, but if you're giving out full size, you're a baller. That's like baller status shit.
Yeah, which I have an issue with that, right? Like they're painting it like Jeremiah is the one like organizing all the bills and paying all the bills, and I'm like, yeah, the medical bills are probably pretty expensive, but we haven't sold y'all's cars yet. Like we're still getting king size Snickers bars for Halloween. Like they're making it seem like Jeremiah's like really taking care of the finances while Conrad's off at school. But I'm like, didn't play well.
I think he's taking care of the insurance. There's certain things that they need to submit to insurance.
Okay.
I don't know.
Anyhow, it's a very cliche
and
setup.
by the way, well, I don't even understand it because Adam Fisher's not there to take care of the finances, but then he's going to be there
for Thanksgiving. I don't know. Anywho. Okay, so Conrad had a day off because classes got canceled. He came there to see him. Really, what pisses off Jeremiah is he finds out that he really came there to talk to Jeremiah. He's like, we need to talk about what happened last summer. So imagine that. After everything that went down, Jeremiah and Conrad still haven't even truly talked.
I don't necessarily know if he came there just to talk about Belly. I thought he probably came there to see his mom and all that.
I think that's true, but the way that Jeremiah reacts to it is, I can't believe you came here to do this.
Well, I didn't like that. I thought
I didn't like Jeremiah in this scene.
I thought Jeremiah was a little bratty in the scene also. I didn't mention that yet, but I think flashback scenes are a little bit shows the brat side of Jere.
Well, it's because Conrad is coming there to iron some stuff out.
Yeah, and Conrad does lay a little bit of guilt on him.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a ties him down into a corner and there's not much he can do.
Yeah, like what? Yeah, I mean, even Jeremiah says it's like, what do you do when your brother comes here and says that it like physically hurts his chest not to be able to tell this girl that he is in love with her?
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this.
And also he says, Jere, I really want to be with her, and I think she wants to be with me too. She's just so afraid of hurting you, and I can't have you hating us. So Conrad,
I think the damage has been done already on Jere.
But Conrad, who never bears his soul ever, goes and does this with Jeremiah, and Jeremiah, he's left with no choice. But that's also probably a pretty good time to say, yeah, but I'm gonna be a fucking asshole at Thanksgiving. Like that's a moment for Jeremiah to be like, okay, I'm gonna say okay, but I'm like really, really not cool with any of it.
He says, "You do what you're gonna do."
Yeah, which I think is bratty.
It is, but
it's like whatever, you're gonna do what you want to do anyway. But then Conrad comes back with but it physically hurts me, Jeremiah. I can't, like, he basically was like, I can't live without her.
But then Conrad goes and tells Belly that basically Jere's fine. He's homecoming came.
Well, it's because at the very end, Jeremiah's like, okay, I support you. It's not real support, but Conrad goes and
he sold it to Belly as if it was real support.
He's like, okay, one order of a bouquet lollipops coming up.
Great writing, I think, because it's like no one is guilt-free and no one is the worst person on the planet.
Yeah.
Everyone's just a little bit guilty and everyone's just a little bit of a D-bag and everyone's just a little bit of a thirst trap and everyone is just,
Yeah, there's no true villain because you can it's very realistic. And then
it is realistic.
But then you start to notice, right, that Belly's picking up on some of those vibes because she shows up to Thanksgiving. So now her and Conrad are official. She shows up to Thanksgiving and she notices that Jeremiah is like,
I don't think it's
really not okay.
Because of the family dynamic, I don't know how appropriate the handhold is anyway.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I wasn't.
There's the handhold, and then you see Jeremiah give them a look. Belly notices and like drops Conrad's hand.
And
it's awkward.
Say what you want. All the scenes we've ever seen with Adam Fisher and Conrad are bad. Handling the house back on July 4th. But in this Thanksgiving scene, when Belly's around, Conrad's his best self and him and his dad are like
okay.
getting along okay.
But I think at that point, it seems like Susanna and Adam are okay too.
Sure. You're right. And then after the big scene,
yeah,
Belly goes upstairs to hang out with the moms.
that part's, can I
That's
say
cute.
that part is cute.
The 90s shirts and shit.
Yeah, but it's also, it feels like they're in it, which is what sets Jeremiah off. It feels like they're in a real relationship. Like Belly and Belly and Conrad are like kind of like being flirty by themselves.
It did feel real because he's like, I don't know how much
I don't know how much I don't know how I'm gonna feel about you wearing my mom's baby tees. And that just,
it's something realistic.
Perfect. It's so perfect.
It is perfect.
But Jeremiah's like, yeah, because you're her boyfriend.
This is probably the brattiest it gets. He's like, hey, so you know, I think you let me know if Belly's coming around next time because I'd like not to be here.
And we're all sitting here like, bro,
what are you gonna go eat by yourself at Boston Market?
No, but also Conrad's like, what do you mean? You knew, like, you had to know she was gonna be here. It's not just a random girl that Conrad is bringing home for Thanksgiving. Her mom is there. Her brother's there.
So this is why I think, like, okay, this is my big take. I feel like,
but it's so childish.
Yeah, he is just playing he got hurt, and Conrad knows that he hurt Jeremiah, and
I think he wants to. Yeah,
he's playing that card right now. Like he's playing it up like he's in love with Belly, and there is some love there, but it's also, there's some jealousy of Conrad mixed in, and there's also some like some friends with Belly mixed in too. There's a lot of like,
I don't know, like
a big gumbo of feelings that Jere has, and I don't know if like he's playing it off like he has been in love with Belly forever, right?
Which you're supposed to believe based on that scene, but I just comes off as like petty.
It comes off a little bit like I lost and I don't want to see it flaunted in my face. I don't want my brother to have
It's a little sore loser-ish.
Yeah, good way of putting it. But then if you put it in his perspective, it's
hard. Nobody's denying that it's hard. But like, okay, let's play that out for a second. Okay.
I think it would be more embarrassing. Sorry. I think it would be more embarrassing for like fast forward now that Conrad and Belly have held hands at Thanksgiving, right? To be Conrad.
I feel very awkward.
Okay. To be Conrad if Belly and Jere get together and then they hold hands at Thanksgiving. That would be even more awkward than what Jere's going through now.
Of course it would. My man Conrad's about to be put through the ringer. That
would be some shit.
Okay. But. Okay. Can we just, we'll never know the answer to this, guys, but I just want to hear your take on it. That just happened at Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Conrad calls Jeremiah's bluff? Do you think he's like,
Christmas?
Yeah. He's like, okay, I'm going to call your bluff. Belly is coming to Christmas. Don't show up. Or, okay, I respect you, Jeremiah. Belly's not coming to Christmas. We're going to go have our own little thing at Christmas.
Interesting. Good take, hon. Good thinking.
Isn't that crazy? That's crazy to me. It's so messy. I love drama. You can't tell.
It is really messy. And like, I don't want to come off like I'm being mean or anti anyone.
Well, okay, so actually we were watching it, right? And Casey is like, it's such like a younger brother thing to do. And I looked at you and I'm like, well, you're the younger brother. And you're like, I know. I think that's part of why I can like see different sides of it. Okay, so then you have another flashback, which I think is one of the best scenes of the show.
From an acting perspective, what's one of Jere's
best scenes of the episode?
Jere and Susanna.
Yes. So if you're Team Conrad and you're in your feelings a little bit because of this episode, yeah, you're going through it. Listen up, because this take does have a little bit more of a like Team Conrad slant if you choose to see it that way. I'm just gonna say how I see it. It's from the book. Susanna is on the other side of the FaceTime during prom. Jeremiah overhears that he forgot Belly's corsage. Jeremiah from the books has the same monologue, which is like, oh, if I would have taken Belly to prom, I would have done it right. He gets to do it, and he's treating it like it's a fucking chore. which again is like no empathy for Conrad at all from Jeremiah. Everything's like belly, 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 belly. And Conrad is a jerk. But I think that what Susanna says to Jeremiah when she sees how much he's hurting is the true arc of the entire story that Jenny is trying to tell.
Tell me more.
She says,
and I quote,
well, not I quote. She says she admits that it's her fault. I love that because it is.
Oh, okay.
She like apologizes. Like her youngest boy is only hurting this deeply because she's always pushed this idea, and she admits she got so happy that Belly is making one of her boys happy and that Belly is dating one of her boys, that she like forgot about Jeremiah.
Yeah,
but she admits that she is the reason that he even probably feels this way.
Deb Ball, she's like in tears watching Belly and Conrad dance, and no one wonders where the hell her date is. She went to the dance with.
Yeah. Okay. So there's that. I like that she admitted fault for basically the setup of a lot of this messiness. I like that she says to Jeremiah that I'm not saying that no one will get hurt in this, but it's a part of life, right? Like the adventure and the figuring out is part of the journey. So I like that she acknowledges like it is going to be rocky between you and your brother and Belly. That's a good acknowledgement. And I think Jeremiah needs to understand that. The other thing that she says, which is very team endgame Conrad. Like, I don't think Susanna is team Conrad necessarily, but it's very team endgame Conrad.
Mm-hmm.
She looks Jeremiah's sad face in the eyes and says, I'm not saying that it won't hurt or that you won't get hurt or people won't get hurt, but I think you have your own story. Jere thinks of that as, because he says it at the end of the episode, Jere takes that as, oh, Conrad can have the past, maybe I can have the future. But I think Susanna's really saying, if Belly and Conrad are truly meant to be together,
there's a girl out there.
Jeremiah, like, you'll be okay, my boy. Like, you'll have someone.
I agree with you, hon.
And then the last part, which will come back in the letters, it'll come back in whatever Susanna says to Conrad on her deathbed, but she says, like, don't ever lose each other. Like, nothing is more important. Like, she basically says Belly is not more important than you and your brother sticking together.
Yeah. So when I watched the flashback scene with Thanksgiving, and I saw that it was also affecting Jere that much, whether it's jealousy or what, that's a big red flag. So here's a random question. Maybe we'll leave this in, maybe we won't. For the Team Conrad girls out there or Team Jeremiah, if you are team whatever, I think this plays into the family thing I was just saying, do you, and you see Belly doing the flip-flopping and not being able to decide over the two brothers, you know, going back and forth, do you want whatever boy to go find a girl who maybe doesn't have such a close connection to the family or a connection to the brother? Like, go find someone else who doesn't have a built-in 16-year relationship with your brother also. Yeah. Like, leaving your hometown. Right. And, like, you have like, you know everyone there. Yeah. But then you go to a different place and you can have a completely new. Yes. Everyone knows everything about your family. Right. Right. There are shows where that is the right answer. There are definitely shows where that is the right answer, which is like, go find yourself. Go find who Stanford. Go find who you are outside of these relationships, outside of these people, outside of the beach house. Go find it. Whatever your little kid princess dreams were, and you think it's this thing, like, go break yourself out of that and see what the world really has to offer. There's a world where that's the case. And it's a great story. I just don't think that's the story that Jenny set out to tell. That's a fact. Big facts. Yeah. So if I'm Team Jeremiah, and when I say Team Jeremiah, guys, I don't mean Team Jeremiah and Belly are
destined to be together.
Mm-hmm.
I say I care about Jeremiah and I want him to have his dues. For me, seeing how Belly is acting, she's very erratic. She is making all kinds of bad decisions. I think that it is not her truly liking Jeremiah at this point. Maybe they develop something and they deserve to develop something of their own. But in this moment, I think she is more running away from her pain, her grief, her past mistakes, and running away from Conrad more than running to Jeremiah.
Okay.
And because of that, if I'm Team Jeremiah, I sort of want him to realize that she will not get over Conrad. Like, I need that for his character. Because if he is constantly pining after her and she's always in love with Conrad, it's just tragic. And I don't want tragedy for Jeremiah. I may not want Belly for Jeremiah, but I don't want tragedy for him.
Yeah, because at the end, unless they develop something so strong,
yeah,
it's gonna be hard. It's always gonna have that Conrad thing hanging over.
You would think, based on the overall arc of the story, if you're Team Conrad, I'm absolutely and completely fine. This is why I love Conrad. It's why I love Conrad. It's because he makes decisions based on everyone else but himself. He breaks up with Belly because he's hurting her. He is going to, I think, go to Stanford to get some separation, which Jeremiah already said is what he wanted, and to let Belly and Jeremiah figure it out. I think Conrad is very mature, and he's like, okay, if you guys are meant to be together and this is how you're feeling right now, go have your shot. And Jere, maybe you don't hurt her the way that I did, and maybe that means that there's something there. And if that's the case, you're right, Jere. I don't want to see you at Thanksgiving either. So I'm going to move to the other side of the country, but I'm going to let you guys have some air and some time to grow up together. Okay, so what are some pros for the Belly and Jere column?
When they're alone together in the theater, that's like the best Jere and Belly you can get.
It was good. It was really good. It was well done. It's a small thing that I think is supposed to be a big thing. It's that quote.
Oh, the Amelia Earhart one.
Yeah, I think it's what we talked about them being defensive, and I think that was Belly saying that to Jeremiah, like, was a small crack in his armor.
Yeah.
Because she says, like, the thing about adventure, which is the Amelia Earhart quote. You find out later that Susanna said that quote to Jeremiah. Jeremiah then put that quote on his graduation hat, and Belly, you find out at the end, only knows about that because she cared enough about Jeremiah and what was going on when he was shutting her out to watch the graduation footage of him. And that's like just really sweet.
Yeah. I mean, she definitely wants to talk to Jere. Like, we always have seen, especially in this season, where it's like, if you need me, you should have just reached out. Like, they have something at the very core of their like friendship. And I think that's where Jeremiah can maybe it's part of the confusion with his like, I've loved her forever thing. But they have this really core. It's like, if you need me, call me. I'm always there for you. I would have answered. I should have been there for you. Yeah.
Can I talk about some book to show stuff?
Yeah, and then we'll get into the music and the winner of the episode.
Just because I know you don't, no shade, know the books as well as I do.
Mega shade.
But couple things from the book. I'll just fully admit, after episode 5, as I was sorting out my very visceral feelings about everything, in anticipation of getting ready for episode 6, which I think is when they throw the party.
Ooh, that's going to be a banger.
I went and reread that chapter from book 2 about the party. And in that, Belly's guilt is all wrapped in how shitty she was to Conrad at the funeral. That's all she talks about. And it's coming to a head where they need to have it out about that. And in the show, it seems like the last thing that's on her mind. She doesn't seem to carry a lot of guilt. She's just like, he wants to shut me out, I'm going to shut him out. And all of her guilt.
That's true, hon.
And all of her guilt is all wrapped in Jeremiah. because of the on the side of the road thing that happens. That's a huge difference.
So you're saying in the book, she's feeling guilty about saying, I hate you.
Yes.
At the funeral.
Yeah.
Where, well, in the book, does she kiss Jeremiah and then kiss Conrad?
No. Yeah, so
that's like a change there. That's kind of like the butterfly effect.
For sure.
Like one thing affected it, and then it like changes the whole course.
Yeah. The other thing that is a huge swerve from the book in a great way, is we're not holding any punches on whether or not Belly loved Conrad and Conrad loved Belly. In the book, so much of this girl's insecurities and how she thinks back on that relationship is like, maybe we weren't in a real relationship. Maybe he didn't love me. He never really said the words. And then all of Conrad's bullshit is like, oh, yeah, I should have told her I loved her. I shouldn't have let her go with Jere. I hope she knows.
Do you think he did tell her? He told Jere, like, I love her.
Well, that's, I don't know. So that's the open question. Do you think that they told each other they loved each other? I think yes, because Belly is using the love word with Steven in front of a party full of people. She says it to Taylor. And then Conrad says it to his brother, he's not a guy who opens up to his younger brother about his feelings. So yeah, I think that they, for them to be using the L word that much, just like with other scenes and other characters, you don't think that they said it when they were having sex? Like, I think that's one part of the book that was like a little bit up for grabs, and that was where, again, her insecurities came in, and that was where Conrad wasn't opening up truly about his feelings in a way that would keep her. And I don't know, I think all bets are off. I think they are very open about the fact that they were in love with each other. So I think that the major linchpin is like the word still, right? Like, I am still in love with you. I will always be in love with you. Like, I think that's the unspoken.
Wasn't there a big quote too? Like, it's always been you. It's only ever going to be you, or something like that.
Yeah. But to your point, he's sleeping when she says it. I like that they kept Jeremiah's actual narration from the book, like word for word. And
Jeremiah's narration doesn't have a lot of insight into his like depths in other areas, but it does help us understand his Belly feelings, and how
angry he is at Conrad.
Yeah, whether I think he is a little bit is unreliable, and like he thinks it's one thing, I think it's a little bit of something else. But
and then truth or dare, like everyone was waiting for the truth or dare thing, and I'm glad that they found a way to put that in there.
Yeah, I feel like people would have given them more shit. It was like, dare Belly kiss Jeremiah, and he's like, pause. Aren't we too old for that?
Yeah.
Is there like some kind of punishment in truth or dare if you don't do something?
I think it's so awkward, like record scratch.
Let's just move on to something else.
Let's just move on because Cam saves the day again. Cam's just like, I'll go. I pick truth.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Cam. And then Taylor went from wanting a euphoria level truth or dare to going to sleep in like 2.5 seconds.
I'm just so sleepy.
Smoked a little too much.
Anyway, we didn't talk enough about your boy.
How about this? Who of the 7 smoked weed? Is there 7 or 6?
7.
Cam, Taylor, Steven, Belly, Conrad, Jeremiah,
Sky. 7.
Damn. Okay. How many? Your take? How many people smoked weed?
Based on how Belly was acting, I think her.
Okay, 1.
Steven.
Okay.
Taylor. We saw Sky.
Yeah, we only saw Sky and
definitely not
Taylor.
Cam. Remember, he's straight guy.
We only saw Taylor and
Sky.
It's all we can vouch for.
Yeah.
I would say I don't think Jeremiah is much of a smoker.
Okay. He seemed pretty lucid.
Yeah, I would say everyone but Jeremiah
and Cam.
Probably
tracks. No, Con likes his weed.
Yeah, we do know Con likes his weed.
And he was mellow enough.
Yeah, it's all fun stuff.
Yeah, he was so mellow that he didn't see that the love of his life is drifting away towards his brother again.
I mean,
yikes.
Listen, if he still has these feelings for Belly, he would have been aware that when he was hanging out in the kitchen, that Belly is potentially off with Jeremiah somewhere, and that her and Jeremiah.
Let's not step on the preview episode, but I think Conrad is going to start realizing some stuff.
Really realizing there's a coyote in the hen house or whatever that.
Yeah.
A wolf in the hen house.
Oh yeah. Next episode.
Yo, shout out to everyone who gave us those questions, because we're in Pittsburgh, like we mentioned, and we on the ride there we did the Q&A, and that was awesome. We got so many questions, and it helped pass the time like crazy. But shout out to everyone who answered those questions. One of those questions was, it kind of bled over into today, where it was like, describe episode 5 in one word. What's your one word description of episode 5? I said thirsty.
I might say eager. There's just like a lot of raw emotion and eagerness, like eagerness from Jeremiah flashbacks to feel seen and heard, that he's hurting, eagerness from Conrad to save the house, eagerness from Belly to get a sense of self, and I think she's trying to get that sense of self right now from Jeremiah, who's easy. He's not being easy. Like, don't get me wrong. He's not being a slut like in season 1, which is what Steven calls him.
We're gonna wrap this up pretty soon, but not a great music episode.
Yeah.
I didn't like have any like, oh, I love that song.
No standout. Now,
what was your musical moment?
I mean, if your team, I think you have to end, you don't have to end Team Jeremiah, but you have to end with like, okay, these two are coming together. And I like the beat drop when they are walking back up the hill to where everyone else is sleeping, and it's the song that plays when they're like laying down and going to sleep.
Okay. Who won the episode? I'm looking up the rating right now. I have no idea. This is like completely, we're gonna find out in real time what the rating is on IMDb. I have no idea.
Won the episode.
Sky had a good episode, making
Sky was great in
making the water bomb.
Sky's great.
Cam gets him in.
Yeah.
But he's going to have to deal with some shit from his mom, maybe. Like, you're never using my code again. I'm changing my code.
I was good.
Not Belly. Belly just started fires everywhere.
Belly was annoying in this episode. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. Tough one for Bells.
I don't even think I can say that Jeremiah won the episode because he was so sad.
Well, he doesn't want to get hurt again.
Exactly. Who won? Maybe that's why I feel so icky about this episode. Like,
no one really won.
No one really wins.
I mean, can I say it? I don't want to catch a beat down, but for what the motives are, and Julie won the episode.
Ugh.
What
everyone else is in a tough spot.
What their motives are, and Julie's motives are, she wants to sell this house, and seems like she has succeeded.
Oh my God. Can we do that?
I don't know. How about this one? Susanna? Kind of clarifying some things with Jere finally. I think said some stuff that needed to be said.
Okay.
Susanna, okay. I think Susanna's in the race right now.
Yeah.
Taylor could be there too. She rebuffed Stevens as to not be a cheater.
I could say Taylor. Oh, okay. Let's go Taylor. Okay.
All right.
You know how I always do my things? Okay. She gets some reciprocation from the love of her life.
Yep.
She doesn't cheat though.
Yep.
So she's trying to stay line. She is trying to stand strong.
Yep.
She had a good heart-to-heart with Belly.
Smoked some good weed.
She found and smoked some good weed. And she comes away with a dope-ass leather jacket.
Okay, Taylor wins the episode. Good one.
And she got to be a Deb for a moment.
That's right. He really wants to dance with you.
Oh, it was so cute.
That was such a cute scene.
It was so cute. I feel like we didn't talk enough about Steven and Taylor. Do you have anything to say about that before we wrap up?
I don't know if he has just such great writing, or
his delivery
he
spot on,
or he is like
Sean.
I know he's a great actor, but I wonder if he like improvises any of it, because it just sounds so realistic, that some of the things that he says. Mm-hmm. Oh, I love the shot of the shoes, the legs dancing. Mm-hmm. You get the like the Keds and her Air Force One, his Air Force One.
Yeah,
great shot. You get to see the shoes.
Yeah,
it's cute. But I think they're gonna make it. I hope, because now we got that little wrench in the system here about first loves and all this shit. I'm rooting for. Well,
it's just the first loves thing is just the two girls being like, okay, we're like, we can't. On. Yeah, we got to move on. We have to be strong.
But we do know that there's a fight between Milo gets punched or Steven gets
Milo's
punched.
In the next episode.
So I remember seeing in like the early trailer that there was a fight between Milo and Steven. So
something goes down.
It's not dead yet. Staler's not in the grave. It didn't happen full on this episode, but there's still hope.
Craziness.
Here we go. We're gonna reveal episode 5 rating 7.5. So that would put it tied for third. Lovesick episode 3 is the best, obviously. Probably my favorite episode of all time. Someone asked us that question on the thing, and I said that one, episode 3, season 2.
Okay.
It's just such a solid episode. But that's number 1 with an 8.2. Love Scene is a 7.9. And then the premiere episode is a 7.5. And then this episode is also 7.5. And then episode 4, Love Game from last week, has fallen below 7.
Wow.
Down to a 6.9.
Wow.
So yeah, I think people are kind of feeling the same way, a little indifferent, not too crazy to blow you away. The plot didn't move a whole lot.
No, they started with a bleak situation with the house, and they ended with even more bleak situation with the house.
Where did the furniture go?
But house is sold. Yeah, but the characters did all kinds of crazy shit that has painted them all into an awkward corner, and I'm so excited. I'm excited and nervous for episode 6.
Well, we got to wrap up and get out of this conference room. These people are probably got a line out the door waiting for us to get out of here. But thank you guys so much for listening to us. Better with Glasses Pod on Instagram, betterwithglassespod@gmail.com for any questions, comments, concerns. If y'all want to get into those shirts that you see us wear sometimes, you can go to our merch shop. It's in our link tree. You can get that there.
Yeah. Now, this is not from our shop.
That's awesome. That's an American Eagle one. That shit is fire.
This is not American Eagle.
Oh, which one is that?
This one is just right on Amazon Prime.
I got the orange American Eagle one.
I don't think this is American Eagle.
No, it's just Prime.
Okay, cool. Yeah. This is official Amazon merch.
Oh, just as I predicted. Made in heaven.
Hilarious. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.